Welcome to Parenting Successful Teens, the podcast that cuts through the overwhelm and stress of this phase and offers parents simple, practical, cognitive, science-based strategies for keeping their teens on track. Join master coach and real-life mom, Allie Irwin, to talk about real teens, real problems, and the skills it takes to raise successful adults.
I went to a book signing in New York once, and the author had us pair up and share something that our inner mean girl said to us on a regular basis. The other person was supposed to not react at all and just provide a compassionate witness to our darkest shame. Now, this is kind of a bold ask for a room full of strangers, so I let my partner go first, and she shares that she feels responsible for her husband's death. And I'm going to be honest, I don't remember all the details because I was so shocked. But the gist of it was she felt like she had accidentally killed her husband. So I did what they said. I just provided a compassionate witness and just let her share every dark thought. And then the bell chimed and it was time to switch. Emboldened by her share, I told her that I felt shame because I didn't have a lot of close friends, which I thought was going to be pretty mild. But she shrieked, "Girl, you don't have any friends? What kind of person doesn't have girlfriends?" And she was so loud, people turned around and stared at me. Mind you, this is the woman who just told me that she killed her husband, and she thought my lack of friends was a serious problem. Like, you can kill your husband, no big deal. But if you don't have friends to tell about it, there must be something really wrong with you. But in truth, it was a problem. And the reason I didn't have close friendships is because I chronically felt like an outsider or kind of a weirdo. Not to the outward eye. To the outward eye, I looked like every other mom in my town. We all drove the same cars and wore the same jeans. But on the inside, I'm kind of nerdy and read nonfiction for fun. And each month at book club, I would pretend to have read the same sad book that everybody else loved. When really, I had read Robert Cialdini, a book on persuasion, or like some other kind of nerdy nonfiction book. And as my kids got older and we started to struggle with my oldest, it was hard to talk about it in a picture perfect town where it seemed like everyone's kid was above average in every way. And so when I needed good friends and hadn't made them, I felt really lonely. This is the important piece right here. That loneliness I felt wasn't because I wasn't around people, but it was because I felt like I couldn't be myself around people. I was the proverbial lonely in a crowded room person. And so I would just sit there quietly while they raved about all their regular family things, their family dinners and their family vacations, and never mentioned what was happening for us. And as moms of older kids, it can feel tricky to get the support that you need when your kids are struggling. I felt like I needed to protect my son's privacy. I feared the judgment of the other moms, and I didn't want to seem like a loser. I was comparing the inside of what was happening to our house to the outside picture that other people were presenting of what was happening in their house. And now I understand I had a really inaccurate view of how things were for those families. Like, they were also pretending. But at the time, I didn't know that's what was happening. And I just felt like I was coming up short. As parents, we need support from each other. But in order to do that, we need to be able to tell the truth of our experiences. Not in a dumpster fire kind of way, but in a way that is at least honest. Otherwise, any connection we make feels hollow. It can actually make us feel lonelier. At least that's what happened to me. And when I learned the coaching tools that I used on myself and now use with my clients, I discovered that what I was really fearing was not my potential friend's judgment, but my own judgment of myself reflected through their eyes. Like, my own belief was that I was weird and nerdy, and I had tons of feelings of shame about the job I was doing as a mom. And I believed those judgments. So I assumed that my friends, like if I told them what was happening or what kind of books I liked, that they would have the same judgments that I had about myself. And so I pre-rejected myself for them without ever giving them the chance to really get to know me. I only told them about the parts of me that I thought that they would like. And we do this with the good stuff about ourselves too. This example is shared with permission from my daughter. She is hella driven, my words, not hers. She regularly gets up around 6 a.m. so that she can work out before her early morning classes. And I'm talking about those 7:30 or 8 a.m. classes that most college students avoid. I avoided them. And on the weekends, she'll regularly go for 10-mile runs and then come home and have an apple as a snack. She's figured out for her like what works for her. And it's different than the choices that her friends have made. But she hates it. Like she loves her choices, but she hates it when other people tease her about being too perfect. So she doesn't talk about what she's really doing. She just tends to stay quiet when other people talk about sleeping till noon. And our staying quiet, both mine and my daughter's, about what we really like or what's really going on for us seems like it has a protective quality. And to a certain degree, it does. We do get to skip other people's judgment. But again, what we're really skipping over is our thoughts about ourselves reflected in their eyes. What we aren't skipping over is our own judgment of ourselves. And that judgment of ourselves comes at a cost. It wasn't until I was brave enough to share what was really going on that I made real friends. And maybe my daughter could have a running buddy if she was more forthright as well. So you have to decide if it's worth it to you. You have to think about what you're giving up when you don't share the truth about your own life. And for me, the ability to do that was grounded in me reducing my own judgments about myself. Like as I started liking more parts of myself, I got braver about telling the truth, right? Like as I stopped rejecting myself, I stopped assuming that other people would reject me as well. And of course, the more I shared the real me, the more I made real friends. Not with everyone, of course, but I don't need to be everyone's cup of tea. And now, if I was at that book signing with that woman and she had shrieked about, like, in laughter at my deepest shame, I would be so much more likely to just laugh along with her and say something like, yes, it's true. I do that. And you killed your husband. We both have things we regret. Like her judgment wouldn't throw me because I have less judgment of myself. So if you aren't telling the truth about yourself right now, ask yourself why. What are you afraid will happen if you do? Are you judging yourself in a way that you're willing to let go of? And what might you gain if you were willing to share more of your truth? Okay, I would love to hear the answer to those questions. Feel free to share them with me at Allie@allieirwin.com. And have a great week, everyone. Talk to you next week.